is Yohan Kim. Yohan's going to talk to us about the effects of active dried Saccharomyces cerevisiae on ruminal fermentation and the bacterial community during subacute ruminal acidosis in post-weaned Holstein calves. Yohan Kim is from the Iwate University. Over to you.
Thank you for your introduction. Let me begin the presentation. The topic of my presentation is how yeast supplementation affects the rumen fermentation bacterial community during SARA challenge in Holstein calves. Yeast materials such as Saccharomyces is a feed additive that have been used for decades in the dairy industry. Active dried Saccharomyces SC has been known to enhance beneficial effects such as stabilizing ruminal pH by inhibiting lactate production or increasing lactate utilization. Besides subacute ruminal acidosis, SARA is a digestive disorder that caused by feeding rapidly fermentable carbohydrates and results in depressed intake for body condition and reduced production. Meanwhile, there were several studies about SC inclusion may improve the rumen development, dry matter intake, and growth rate by stabilizing rumen environment. Although the calves reaches to substantial body weight and seem to develop similar bacterial community to adult cattle after weaning, they might still have an immature rumen bacterial community, and they could not produce more energy from a high-grain diet in the rumen. Therefore, we investigate the effect of SC supplementation on ruminal pH, fermentation, and the microbial community of the liquid and solid fractions in dairy calves after weaning. 5 fish-related Holstein bull calves were used in this study, and active dried SC was administered twice daily for consecutive 21 days, 0 grams per day in the control group, 4 grams per day in the SC group. Ruminal pH was measured continuously as reported previously. The experiment was consisted of 14 days of pre-challenge, 2 days of SARA challenge, and 5 days of pre-challenge, post-challenge period. The calves were fed high forage diet during the pre- and post-challenge period, and a high-grain diet during the SARA challenge period. Rumen fluid and content samples were collected once daily during the pre- and post-challenge period, or twice daily during the SARA challenge period. First of all, this line graph represents the diurnal changes in the 1-hour mean ruminal pH during the pre-SARA and post-challenge period. Closed circle is the SC group, open circle is the control group, and gray scale denotes SARA challenge period. During the pre- and post-challenge periods, there was no particular difference between the two groups. However, ruminal pH depressed dramatically in each group during the SARA challenge, whereas the changes were more severe in the SC group. You can see here on the day 16 at 11, around 11. These line graphs are the summary of rumen fermentation indicators, and the parameters were changed during the pre-SARA and post-challenge period, and the changes were focused on the day 16 at 11 rather than the day 15. For example, the fermentation parameters such as total VFA, butyric acid, and lactic acid were higher in the SC group in the on the day 16 and 11. In contrast, the endotoxin indicator ruminal LPS increased slowly in the SC group during the SARA challenge and decreased slowly during the post-challenge period. Similar to just mentioned indicators, the bacterial communities in the liquid and solid fractions were also affected by SC supplementation. During the pre- and post-challenge period, Prevotella genus that belonged to Bacteroidetes was the most abundant bacterial genus in the liquid fraction. And Bifidobacterium was affected most by SC addition in the liquid fraction. In detail, the relative abundance of this genus increased from 0.1 to 41% in the SC group, whereas it increased only from 0.5 to 9.1% in the control group. In contrast to liquid fraction, Prevotella genus was the most abundant in the solid fraction, and it accounted for about 22 to 23% in the SC group, whereas it accounted only for 0.1 to 0.2% in the control group. Although the relative abundance of Bifidobacterium increased in the solid fraction of the SC group, this was minor change compared with the liquid fraction. After that, PCOA analysis was performed between the groups, fractions, and periods. As a result, plots displayed a separation between the pre-challenge and post-challenge period. Among them, solid fraction of the control group was distinguished from the others, and solid fraction of SC group was SC groups showed a close distance to liquid fractions. However, they were affected more by the SARA challenge when compared with the control group. Finally, correlation analysis was performed between the operational taxonomic unit and rumen fermentation parameters. As a result, 1 hour mean ruminal pH was negatively correlated with Prevotella OTU number 15. Butyric acid was positively correlated with OTU number 1, Prevotella, and Succinea vibrio OTU number 9. And also, lactic acid concentration was positively correlated with Bifidobacterium OTU number 3. In summary, the 1 hour mean ruminal pH depressed during the SARA challenge period in both groups, whereas the changes were more severe in the SC group. It was because total VFA, lactic acid, and butyric acid increased more in the SC group during the SARA challenge. And also, proportion of butyric acid in the SC group was significantly higher in the SC group on the day 16 at 11. Therefore, calves receiving active dried SC after weaning could produce more total VFA, butyric acid, and lactic acid as an energy source without unhealthy condition. Furthermore, Bifidobacterium genus increased dramatically in the liquid fraction of the SC group, and it was positively correlated with the lactic acid concentration. In contrast to liquid fraction, Prevotella genus was the most abundant and most affected bacterial genus during the Sara challenge in the solid fraction of the SC group. In conclusion, the greater relative abundance of Bifidobacterium in the liquid fraction and Prevotella in the solid fraction of the SC group suggests administration of active dried SC after weaning could have an important role in the establishment of ruminal fermentation ability or bacterial community during Sara challenge in Holstein calves. Thank you for your listening.